Welcome to Travel Market Life, your companion for industry insights and professional business development. Travel Market Life. Join us by webcast, video or podcast.
Welcome to Travel Market Life, and in this episode we're going to be looking at the Spanish market and delving into the media with the help of the editor and founder of SmartTravel News, Juanda Núñez. He'll be explaining some of the key trends we're seeing in Spain and the travel market, the challenges that hoteliers and the wider industry are facing, and some of the digitalisation agenda in the country. So let's dive in and find out a bit more about the Spanish media marketplace.
Travel Market Life.
Hola, Juanda. How are you doing? Thank you very much for joining us today.
Hola, Ryan. Thank you for having me. I'm doing great. Thank you.
It'd be great to hear from you some of the trends that you're seeing there in Spain and some of the specific market challenges and changes that are prominent.
Yeah, okay. Well, as you can imagine, of course, the pandemic has been very hard for every country, of course, but especially for us when regarding to travel, because it's our main industry, as you know. And it affects lots of other industries that are involved with tourism, not just travel itself. So if you speak to any hotelier in Spain at the moment, they are very happy with the year they've had and the summer they've had. All the results are above any expectations. We have recovered 9 of every 10 international travelers. We just had today new data from occupancy, which is 40% up compared to 2021. So they're very happy, and I can tell you that they're very cautious all the time. You know, hoteliers in Spain, they don't want to be too happy about anything, but they're happy now. So of course we have challenges, as everyone does, regarding costs, and they will say that it's hard to make profit with these prices and with inflation, and this of course is a global thing, not just for travel or for Spain, of course, but they would say that's their main challenge now. I mean, data is very good, and even if we thought that, you know, the summer hangover was going to be difficult for us, actually it's not going that bad, and you can tell the data is still bookings are still up, and we are very cautious about what's going to happen in this autumn, but data is still very good. We are having our high season now on Canary Islands, for example, so we are going to have to wait and see what happens there, but regarding data, everything looks fantastic at the moment.
I mean, it's very interesting to see how well the travel industry has bounced back and how Spain has been able to figure out its new place at the moment and respond to those emerging needs. But as you say, there's a big impact of these inflation and the costs, and also around staffing, because it's not just been an issue that we experienced in the UK or as we've seen in Germany, but it's a worldwide issue. And I guess in Spain in particular, what are some of the Spanish tourism and hotel companies doing to really try to attract people back to the industry?
I mean, that's hard, because even at the beginning of the pandemic, I would speak to hoteliers that would say we're having a talent leak, and people are moving from travel to other industries, and it's going to get really hard to get them back. So, and you know, also it's a very seasonable job in some segments of travel. So it's very hard to capture that talent and keep it with us. And we're going to have to try very hard to do that. And also there is a generation thing going on, because I've been talking to some hoteliers, and they would say that working with younger generation is not that easy, because they don't have that kind of attention and maybe, you know, it's a different generation, so it's not that easy that they would accept very long hours at the beginning of their careers. And in this industry, that's the common thing when you start. So I don't know the solution about this. I'm so sorry. I wish I had that solution, but you can tell that we really had a talent leak with the pandemic, and it's going to take it's going to take a while to get people back.
I mean, we've all had to look at the way that the source markets has changed massively over the last couple of years, really adapting to regional travelers, to then looking at how you could get the Europeans back, and then the North Americans and wider international travelers. And I guess this is really something that the industry as a whole has had to address, not just Hoteliers itself. Yeah. What are some of the key challenges you're seeing across the wider travel industry as you're speaking to some of the other sectors within travel?
Oh, well, first thing is that when the pandemic happened and we could and then we could travel again, the regional traveler, the Spanish traveler, has been very important for us, and I have to say that international traveler was really appreciated. It's always really appreciated by the industry, because they tend to spend more than the national ones. But this year, particularly this year, Spanish travelers have spent as much as people from the UK or Germany or even the States. So people even in the hardest situations, they don't wanna stop traveling. It's like they deserve their holidays and their vacation, and then we'll figure out what happens next, which is not always the smartest solution. But regarding our industry, it's a nice thing that people will put their travel and their holidays on a top priority, right? But still, we have, of course, challenges, and I would say hotels always try to struggle with distribution and try to get some of their direct sales back. As you know, especially in the islands, we have a very dependency on tour operators and OTAs, of course. So hotels always have this kind of struggle. And being from the media, I can tell you that this is the kind of subject that attracts them the most when you have an article regarding how can you get some of that distribution back, or how can you push direct sales. Of course, that's a kind of content that they will appreciate. And as an industry, I think that, of course, we have to deal with the digitalisation. That's a big thing. And in Spain, you know that we have a very key destinations. And before the pandemic, over-tourism was a thing that we were already talking about. And that's something that we're going to have to deal back in the near future, because sustainability has always been a key issue in the last few months. And we have to figure out that balance between, bringing all the international travel back and keeping destinations sustainable, or maybe promoting some other destinations in Spain that maybe don't have that international focus, if you will.
Yeah, no, absolutely. I mean, I've seen some of the DMO campaigns recently where they've not just been focusing on the core cities that are most popular and recognized by international and European tourists, but also trying to get them out to some of the other villages and towns and look at sort of some of perhaps the more road trippy kind of approach to travel, because you have such phenomenal different destinations and experiences that can be experienced within Spain. So there's so much more than the typical destinations and the holiday resorts that particularly the Brits are renowned for visiting. But I've also seen there's been quite a few other changes really around sort of how Spain and some of the other regions are sort of handling tourists, bringing in certain restrictions to, I guess, address some of this sustainability. One of the key things you mentioned there was around digitalisation, the use of technology, and particularly there's always that question of technology and hospitality, but you're taking away the art of hospitality. How are you starting to see that take shape now in Spain? How much of it is it a priority for the businesses themselves? Because I am aware that there's quite a few government initiatives around supporting the evolution of digitalization in the sector.
Yes. So the first thing would be that I think we were a bit far from technology taking off the human part on the guest experience side. And I think that maybe the Spanish and the Latin character has something to do with it. We expect really to have that conversation with the person when we arrive to a hotel. And I would say that hoteliers and travel industry look more to the back office part of technology. And of course, I think most hotels are looking to bringing in like revenue management systems. Of course, PMS is a basic thing to have. CRM software, of course, a big presence on social media, and I think that's the kind of things that they're trying to improve, with the help, of course, of the European help that we are having now with the next generation money, and from the government. I would argue that most hoteliers would at the moment feel like we're not getting, or they're not getting, the right support. We just have the new proposal for the budget next year, and it's cut like the third part of the part that we used to have for tourism has been cut. So I don't think they feel that appreciation from the government that much. And also, for example, we don't have, being such a big industry in Spain, we would have a specific ministry for that. And it depends on who you ask. They would say, "Oh, that's okay, because we don't want them too much involved. So it's okay that we have a ministry of our own." But we are together with commerce and industry, and tourism. So we're in that package. And politicians, and I would say that they support tourism, of course, but I think that the industry doesn't feel that support that much when you look at the budget, and they kind of feel like we've gone out of this whole COVID mess on our own, and that we can deal with anything, and we don't, and it's okay. So and this is a personal opinion, of course, but it's okay that we don't depend that much on the government help, and I think we're a big industry and strong industry. So maybe we can, if there's any help, then welcome. But I think this is a strong industry on its own.
I mean, you are part of that international community naturally, because it is about tourism and people moving around between different locations and geographically internationally as well. So I guess there's also the benefit that there's quite a few hotel chains and international businesses that are based and from Spain that are working and operating across different locations. So there's a lot of learnings that come from different places, and we also see that there's a lot of the Spanish brands are really taking a lot of innovation initiatives and it's a lot of new technologies that are really coming out and being utilized by the Spanish enterprises. Are there any particular sort of technologies within travel and hospitality that are particularly taking your interest, and you're seeing those success stories from hoteliers around these technologies?
Well, you just mentioned the importance of Spanish companies. Like Amadeus is a Spanish company after all, and we have lots of maybe startups that were startups 5-6 years ago. From the top of my head, like Beyond Price, that now they're global and they have a revenue management system that it's global. So I think, and we have to. I just read an interview like yesterday with the Cabify CEO, and they were saying that outside of Spain, we have people tend to see us as we have very strong startups and companies, and it's hard for us to believe. Like, we have to really believe that ourselves, and I think we are better than we think sometimes. This is also a Spanish cultural thing, that we tend to think that the thing from the abroad is always better than ours. But I think we have strong technologies, and I would say that especially we are very strong on revenue management, and we have booking engines, and I think that we have some of the strongest direct channel consultancy companies. I think we have strong leaders there, and that they are like slowly moving away from Spain. Of course, they're going first to the Latin America market. Of course, the language, of course, makes it easier. But when I go abroad, I don't think they have stronger spokesperson than we do in some companies. So I think we have a lot of knowledge there that we can bring, not just to Spanish companies, but also to some European countries. I don't know if that's true to dairy, but I really think we have strong leaders there. Yeah.
I mean, I think you can certainly tell by the fact that, you've got a couple of really big cities that are, recognized on an international playing field. You've also got a lot of the, the beach resorts, as well as the sort of independently run businesses at the same time. So there's a great mix of different types of business there that allows you to really adopt different strategic approaches to either pricing or distribution. And that certainly helps, I guess, the wider European economy really understand some of those behaviors of people who are traveling to and from and within Europe, because Spain is just one of those destinations and obviously one of the key travel destinations. Now, tell us about Smart Travel News. Tell us about the sort of editorial focus that you are taking, and how you help your readers really understand what's happening in the market.
Well, thank you for the opportunity. Actually, it started 6 years ago, and I started this project because I wanted to do something that was fully online and fully focused on travel technology, because we had this references from Focuswire, T News when it was T News, Skip. So that sort of media that I was looking and researching most days. So I thought that we needed something like that for the Spanish hoteliers, not just hoteliers, but also travel agencies, DMOs. So that was my intention at the beginning, and I hopefully I still keep that travel tech focus, and I think people go to smarttravel.news looking for especially that. But also with time, I think that we need to have this purpose of making things easier for readers, not readers or followers or listeners, whatever it is, because we are exposed to so many messages every day, not just from newsletters, email, WhatsApp, social media. So expecting that the audience would take 10, 20 minutes of their day to look at what you're trying to get there, it's I don't know, it's not going to happen. So now I have a new goal, which is I want to inform about travel tech, but I want to do it with the more value that I can in the less time possible. And that's a new factor to take into account. So for example, we have a daily podcast, which is like 6-7 minutes, a daily brief, because I think that's a very useful thing. You can listen to it while you're driving, while you're going on the subway, whatever, and you get to your office or to your hotel, and you already know the big news. We have a WhatsApp newsletter. I don't know. I'm trying always to look for things that make it easier for people to get their news and as fast as possible, which is a little bit of a contradiction because I like to write, and that's the reason I became a journalist in the first place. But I have to understand that people don't read the same way when they read online, and we are again exposed to so many messages all day, every day, that we really need to give them the best information and the most that we can sometimes in a few seconds. So that's one of my goals now, I have to say.
I tell you what, it's lovely to hear that the challenges that marketeers face are the same challenges that the editors of publications are facing today. Because as you say, it's maintaining that interest from that audience and providing them with the information that is of most use to them when they need it. And you, as you said, you've diversified massively from the printed text to a wider range of different ways, including podcasts for engaging with your audience. So I guess there's a lot more on the horizon as you move forward into next year.
Yeah, the thing is, at the moment, I don't think you can get too attached to any specific format because we don't know what's going to happen in the future. So if you are very good at, I don't know, LinkedIn or Facebook or podcast or video, that's great. But maybe in 10 years' time, we don't know what's going to be there. We know there's still going to be a need for someone in the middle to gather the big news and bring them in the easiest way for people. So, but what's going to be the format, I don't really know, and I don't dare to say what's going to be. But I'm sure that we're going to have to adapt, and that our media and every media is going to look very different in, I don't know, 5 years, 10 years time. I don't know how it's going to look like. I don't know if we're going to be in the metaverse or something like that. I don't really know, but I know that I'm going to have to adapt to that, and that's okay. So and also.
I was going to say, yeah, I mean, you could be appearing as a hologram in someone's office before too long, reading them the news, right?
Yeah, who knows? It's going to be a bit scary at the first time, but yeah, I don't know what's going to look like. So, but I was going to say that even, of course, we're trying to get attention longer from people, but also I think we have to take the most of what they give us. If it's 5 minutes, we have to get the most of it. If it's 30 seconds, and that's a bit of a little bit drama for us. And as I was mentioning before, especially for us who like to write and read and long articles, well, maybe that doesn't work anymore. So we have to find the right spot and the right time for those kind of long articles and long content. But in the daily, on the daily basis, we have to look forward to being more useful and more valuable in the less time possible, I think.
Wonderful. Juan, thank you very much for those wonderful insights, not just into the Spanish market and tourism economy, but also into how to really address and engage with your regions and audience. I think that's incredibly valuable. So thank you very much for joining me today.
Thank you for your time. Thank you for having me, and looking forward to talk to you again soon.
So that was Juanda Núñez, the editor and founder of SmartTravel News. Check out our upcoming episodes so you can see them all on travelmarket.life. I'm your host, Ryan Haynes. Thanks for listening, and ciao for now.
For more, go to Travel Market Life. The music sensation by Zach Nelson is reproduced under license from Storyblocks. Travel Market Life is a Haynes Marcoms digital marketing agency production, serving the travel and technology industries.